Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy. So today in this video we're going to be covering the best gear for each level, going from all the way from level 1 to level 170, which is currently the max level you can get in the game. So without any further ado, let's get started. Okay, so from levels 1 to through 10, there's really not a whole lot of gear that's kind of really worthwhile or particular places to kind of farm gear. So what you guys are going to want to do, and this really goes from I think I said from like levels 1 to 10, but this is really kind of classifies from like level 1 through really level 20. But so what you guys are mainly going to want to do here is kind of just go to the bazaar here, and what you guys are going to want to do is come over here, and especially if you're levels 1 through 5, you're going to really want to focus on items that will be focused towards like your health, your accuracy for a lot of it, pretty much, because, you know, at low levels, you kind of don't want to be fizzling, because, you know, you don't have a lot of damage, you don't have a lot of health. So you really want something that's going to give you some health and some accuracy, so that way you're not fizzing, especially if you are a storm or fire, since they are the weakest schools in terms of accuracy. So yeah, I wouldn't really focus on damage, because between these levels of like 1 through 20, there's really not a whole lot of gear in the bazaar that'll give you enough damage to really make it worth it, especially because you'll be, in most cases, sacrificing a lot of accuracy. In which case, you know, sure, all that damage is nice, but if you don't have the accuracy to actually cast off those spells, that damage is pretty much going to be non-existent, because, you know, you won't be hitting anything with those spells. But going on to level 30 to level 60. Okay, so now from level 30 to level 60 here, you're going to be granted access to Aquila here. Now at level 30, you'll be wanting to farm this dungeon over here, Mount Olympus, for the Zeus gear. And really, the Zeus gear is really going to be kind of OP for level 30, and that could pretty much steamroll you from level 30s to level 60 here. Just for an example on screen, because I no longer have the set pieces for my Storm here, but I'm going to give you guys the ones for my Balance character. So these right here that you're seeing on screen right now are basically the Zeus set pieces for balance. Now keep in mind, the stats can change and differ between each school, with Storm obviously having the highest damage for the Zeus gear, and then each run that you do of Mount Olympus, you'll get granted access to this wand right here called the Sky and Iron Hosta, which gives you an extra 10 damage plus a power pip starting off, which is really good. And with all of this, it's chef's kisses, and can pretty much from level 30 to level 60 pretty much just steamroll you through those levels right there. Okay, now at level 56 here, you'll get access to this here crafted gear, which is also a really good alternative here to, say, the Zeus gear that you're going to be running. Especially if, say, like when you hit level 60, you'll also get access to Waterworks. And this gear, if you're unlucky and you're not really getting the pieces you need from Waterworks, this gear can act as a substitute for that as well. So for instance, using the Storm one here, this is the Storm headpiece here for the level 56 crafted gear. As you can see down here for the reagents, they're pretty easy to come by. They're not like ridiculously hard stuff to get. So, you know, once you've leveled up to Grandmaster Crafter here, then you can craft all these pieces. Now using, like, say, the Balance headpiece here and the Zeus version of the headpiece at level 30, you can definitely see that there is a big stat increase here from level 30 to level 56. So yeah, just wanted to point this out here. Now, obviously, you know, like what I said with Waterworks here, you'll also get access to Waterworks gear at level 60, which is really good, and that can last you from level 60 all the way up to 100. And again, if you don't get all the pieces of the Waterworks gear like you see here on screen, then you can also get the level 56 crafted gear and kind of supplement whatever Waterworks gear you're missing. Now, alternatively too here, this is where you can kind of upgrade your Athame and rings. So for level 50, you can come over here to this guy here, and you can buy some of these here, especially some of these rings right here, as well as if you say didn't want to say get these right here. They also have another ring that you get at level 56 called the Amethyst Ring of Battle. There's also the Jade, Ruby, pretty much one for every school here. Gives you some health, a lot of power pips, some block, and some damage, as well as a tier, circle, and square sockets here. Now, this drops, I believe, from the last dungeon of Winter Tusk here. But if you're, say, unlucky and you don't get it as a drop, you could always come over here too and, say, get like the Raven's Song of Storms here. Okay, now at level 90 here, this was where you will get access to Tartarus here for the Hades gear. Now this, you guys can do this here if you guys wanted to before you guys hit to level 100. However, this does give some good gear, and this gear does give, I believe, a good decent amount of Pierce. However, it's just really hard to try and get a team for Tartarus because most people are doing what's coming up next, which is Darkmoor, which you unlock at level 100. Now, once you hit level 90, just like, you know, it may be a little hard for you to farm Tartarus just because of the fact that there's not really a whole lot of teams going for it. So what I would recommend going is going here over here to Mount Olympus for the secret boss for level 90, where you can get the Alpha and Omega ring here. The drop rates are not too terrible for this, but I would highly recommend getting this, as well as for Tartarus. I know I just said that the team ups for it are kind of horrendous, but if you're able to get a team together, there is a secret boss in there called Kronos, and he drops the Blade of the Failed Titan, which is also really good for level 90. So these two pieces right here for level 90, I'd say are really good, and I would highly recommend getting those. Now, at level 100, you will get access to do a quest for Darkmoor, but you can get level 100 gear from this Castle Darkmoor. Now, it's kind of split up into 3 parts here. The first part of Castle Darkmoor here is going to be right here, the Castle Darkmoor here. Then, once you complete each stage, you kind of get these little teleporter stones over here that you can get to each section. So, for instance, once you beat the first part here of this dungeon, you'll get access to the second part over here, which is the upper halls down over here. Now, in there, you will be faced with Shane von Shane. I probably butchered the hell out of that name. He drops a amulet that is really good. However, the drop rates are kind of ass, so it may take you a while to kind of farm for it. But once you get it, it's really good. I would show it here, but I don't actually own one. Now, stage 3, this is the one where everybody farms right here. So this is where you get your Malister robes, hat, Malister hat, robe, and shoes, as well as the first boss in here is the guy that everybody fucking fights to get the fame. So he drops that. Again, same thing with Shane von Shane. He kind of has a similar ass drop rate, so it may take you a few runs before you actually get it. As well as there is a side boss in there that drops the rings called Aphrodite's rings. You know, similar thing in there. He's I think a stone key boss, either a stone or gold key boss, one of the two, and that's where you can get the rings. But yeah, so up on screen here, I'll show you the storm versions of the Malister gear here, and this is what you can get from Castle Darkmoor, and this will pretty much set you from like level 100 to realistically level 130. However, at level 125, you can substitute that out with, now for level 125 here, you can replace the Malister hat and boots with the Kabbalah's Chaotic Hood. For instance, like this is for the Storm. Now this is more if you want to be more offensive and kind of help quest through the game a lot faster, because you'll get higher damage than you can, say, compared to the Malister robe here. Like comparing the Kabbalah's to my Malister robe here, you can obviously see for the damage, I'm getting 8 extra damage just from the Kabbalah's hood. And same thing goes for like the shoes. Like the shoes for the Malister's boots of Flux, I get 26 damage, but as you can see with the Kabbalah's Chaotic Stompers, I get a whopping 32. Now, as you can also see, you do give up some stats in order to get higher damage. So if you're not comfortable with that loss in stats, you can always just keep with the level 100 Malister robes. and that will get you to pretty much level 130. Okay, now at level 138, this is where you should be all the way in caramel, and you can kind of replace things out with some caramel here. So for example, you can, if you say didn't get the level 100 Thame and Ring from the Darkmoor dungeon, you could replace those out with, say, the executive insulated knife here, which gives you 18 damage plus the jewels. Same thing goes for the rings here. Yeah, same thing for the ring here. You can go with this director insulated ring here, which gives you a whopping 17 damage. Again, you're losing out on some extra stats here for these extra pieces of damage. So again, just like with the Kabbalist gear, if you're not too comfortable with the loss in those stats, then obviously you don't have to get these. This is just if you just want the most stats that you can get, or the most damage you can get, this is a one way to do it. Okay, now continuing from level 130 to level 50 here. Once you get to level 150, you should be at this point be in Lemuria. The set pieces you can get from here, from the Halls of Heroes over here, is the Merciless gear. Now, for example, on my death here, this is what the Merciless boot does. So this is where you start to get some kind of OP stats here for the Merciless gear for level 150. Now, I would highly recommend before you go on to Novus that you get at least either all the pieces of the Merciless gear or some of them, right? That's what I would recommend doing, because Novus is where the difficulty starts to ramp up. Now, in this dungeon over here, the Halls of Heroes, I believe the way it's set up is that in order to get the drops, like the Merciless gear from the dungeon, you actually have to be in challenge mode. It is a little painful to kind of get a team together just because of the whole standard and challenge thing, but if you're able to do it, I would definitely recommend getting all pieces of the Merciless gear. Now, say if you can't find a team, another way of doing this would be, say, going for the... Now, another way of doing this is getting the Lemuria World Pack, which you can get unlocked once you've beaten the world and finish the quest line. But this will drop your Merciless cloaks and stuff. So yeah, this is one other place that you could get it from. Okay, so now level 160, you should be in Novus by now. The gear pieces you can get here are the Aeon gear, and that drops from... you'll be basically faced off with the Manticore's Madness here, which is where you gotta fight the Manticore here. That guy will drop you the Aeon hat, robes, and boots. Now the Athame and Ring, I believe the Athame will drop over here from the dueling space, from this Azteca looking dinosaur guy. I'll throw up a picture of him on screen so that way you guys have a better understanding of who I'm talking about, as well as, I believe her name is Roseanne or something like that. It's a penguin in the other place here of Novus, in the kind of Polaris looking area. She will drop you the ring. Now, the way this works in Novus now is that not only can you get it as a drop from those places and from those minions or those bosses, but you can also get reagents from this world that you can use to craft it. So for instance, the Aeon hat here, let me find it for the flyer. So for instance, for the primordial Aeon helm, you'll need any mastery piece helm, and that mastery piece helm can basically be dropped from most bosses in this world. You just need 9 of them, as well as these. You need 67 pixels and 20 polygons. Again, these are both reagents you can find all along Novus, and you can kind of craft any of the pieces of gear that you're needing. You know, so if you need the cape, again, you just need 9 any capes. If you need the boots, you need 9 of any masterpiece boots. The pixels and polygons will stay the same, so you'll need 67 pixels and 20 polygons for each hat, robes, and boots. Same thing goes for the wands. You can also craft it here in case your drop rates are absolutely horrible. Now for the primordial, again, you'll just need 9. This is kind of where it'll change, because so the pixels, instead of saying 67, you just need 60. You can also craft your Athames here as well. This will be 40 pixels instead of that 60. You can also get your amulet here as well, and the rings and the decks. So if you're having issues with farming for the gear, you can also craft it too if you have enough pieces to say just kind of craft what you're missing. But yeah, so that pretty much covers levels 160. Okay, now finally at levels 170 here, this is where you'll get access to Wallaroo. Now, following similarly to Novus here, Walrus, you can get pretty much all of the gear you need from this world by crafting if you wanted to. So for instance, you just hit up my boy Bingo here, and this is where you can get your hood, your robes, shoes, wands, themes, rings, amulets, decks. Now the only difference though is that with the other one you just needed the reagents to craft them. This one you have to actually get a certain badge type for each of these rings. So for this instance, in order to craft the rings, you have to fight Freddy. So you'll have to get the badge called Freddy Player 1, which is you have to defeat Freddy Krueger 10 times in the Dreamscape. Now, I believe for the themes, you actually have to get the Does Have the Power, which is you have to defeat Montgomery 10 times. This will be over on the Doom Moon. Now, the defeat the whole spiral, this is what you get by defeating the fleets 15 times. And this will get you access to the decks, and the amulet, I believe, is done by the Crash Bandicoot, and you'll have to defeat the Crash Bandicoot 20 times. But essentially, once you get those badges, you can craft like the rings, the themes, the amulets, the decks, and over here the jewels as well. Now, same thing goes for the hat and the hat, robes, and boots. However, it's a little bit different because for this you actually have to earn the badge. You have to defeat the Malice 15 times. Now that's going to be over in the Nightmare Dungeon, which is kind of the raid equivalent to say like the traditional raids that you have in guilds. Because that's how this dungeon is kind of set up as it would be a raid. So if you don't get the pieces of the hat, robes, and shoes from that Nightmare Dungeon from Malice himself, then once you've defeated him 15 times, then you can come back over here to Bingo here and you can craft those pieces of gear. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this little gear guide here. If you guys did, make sure to drop a like, share with your friends, and if you guys are new to the channel, consider subscribing so that way you guys don't miss when I go live. And if you guys want to see my walkthrough series right here, click right over here to be taken over there. And if you guys want to see some more content from your boy, check out my other channel right here where I post some X-Defiant and COD. And I'll catch you guys all in the next one.